Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools for transformation, positivity, joy, and hope. They should not, however, be used in replacement for your legal or medical advice. Welcome, everyone, to Angel Heart Radio. Our focus is peace, joy, love, and all the beauty of the world and the people of the world. We all have something incredible to share. We're here with a purpose. We highlight beautiful people from all over the globe who are doing wonderful things. We share authentic, caring, conscious conversation and invite you to join us. We have the ability to help remind you of your own purpose, of how special and valuable and wonderful and needed you are right now. So thank you for joining us on Angel Heart Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome to the program Emotional Intelligence with Dr. Bev. I'm Dr. Bev. I'm a consultant psychologist and I have a PhD in emotional intelligence. So great to have you here, all the listeners and those that are going to come into the chat room. If you're ringing outside of the United States, you need to use your own country code to get out of your country and into the United States, and then ring 714-583-6858. If you're not able to listen to the program right now, you can download it and listen to it on iTunes later. This is all free for you to be able to do. If you go to angelheartradio.com, you're going to be able to see this program and listen to it later, and many other wonderful programs and speakers and interactive people on other shows that you may also enjoy listening to. Well, I have a special guest speaker here today, and her name is Dr. Robyn Mills. And Robyn is an inspiration to us all. She is somebody who's been able to totally and completely follow her dreams. And do ring in today and be able to speak with Robyn in how you may like to be, how you'd like to do this. What else is it that you need to be able to do to do this? And Robyn's going to tell a story in how this actually happened for her. She's been a singer and entertainer who, after 30 years in the helping profession as a nurse, left these roles as a nurse, naturopath, and a psychologist to follow her dream of being a singer and also to return to her spiritual path. So a very big welcome to you, Robyn. I'm delighted to have you on the program today.
Thank you, Bev. It's wonderful to be here on the program, and I thank you for inviting me.
So how did this start for you? When you've been a nurse, you've been a naturopath, and you've been a psychologist, and I suppose at some stages there've also been a dream or something that you've really wanted to do, and then now you're doing singing and following your spiritual path. So what actually triggered this, or how did you actually get to this place of knowing this is exactly what you're thoroughly enjoying doing?
Well, Bev, it came to me as I was reviewing my life. You know, as you turn 55, around that sort of age, you start reviewing your life because, you know, for me, it was in the second half of my life now. And so I was wondering about how I wanted to spend the other half of my life. And I realized that if I died without singing, I'd die with a broken heart. But I was working 9 a.m. till 9 p.m., seeing clients. If someone was crying, I'd add them on to the end of the list. And this was what I did all day, every day. And so by the end of the day, there was no energy left for me. So I'd, throw some food in and put myself to bed, and then I'd get up the next day and I'd do the same thing. So what I realized was that I was helping other people live the best life they could, and while I wasn't really living my life the way I wanted to. So courageously, I guess, I stopped everything that I was doing to create the space to become who I wanted to be. So I just said, right, that's it. I'm going to close my clinical practice. And I closed it over a 6-month period. And the very next day, when I got the idea that I was going to close the clinic, I went out and got signs painted on my car. I was a marriage celebrant as well and still am. And I got the signs painted on my car that said, singer and entertainer and marriage celebrant. So I was putting out to the world, this is who I am now. I'm a singer, not entertainer, singer. This is who I am. And I couldn't even sing a song with a backing track at that point.
Wow, so you weren't already a singer. You weren't already singing at that stage.
No, I'd sing in empty churches to myself or empty car parks, but, you know, every now and then I might pop up and sing at someone's wedding, but that would be, say, 5 or 6 or 10 years in between those. So I hadn't really sung at all, and in fact, in the last 15 years, I've probably only sung twice. So, yeah, so I set off and I brought backing tracks and I started to try to teach myself to sing, and I went through a couple of dreadful singing teachers and eventually found a really beautiful woman called Merlin Quaife, who is one of Australia's opera singers, and she has just the biggest heart that you could ever meet, and she helped me to believe in myself and know that I could do it. So I put it out to the universe and then tried to step into the empty space that I'd created.
And did this, because often when we have that empty space, any fears that we have or doubts and emotions, this is a time that they can have a bit of a field day. Did anything like this happen for yourself in this process?
Well, I had to come to terms with not having money, because there's not a lot of money in entertainment, and the gigs are few, and you know they're not every day. So, although I have 3 next week, I haven't had any for weeks. So, it's not a steady income. So I had to have a look and see what it felt like not to have money of my own and to have to ask for money when I wanted something.
So that would have taken, yes. And trust. What an enormous amount of trust in your process, Robyn, to do that. Yes.
And in the first 6 months, I won a competition on Channel 9 looking for Australia's Susan Boyle. So
right.
that gave me the confidence to know that was on national television. It was 1.5 million viewers. And then I got to sing on Kerry Ann, which was 3.5 or something like that. So that gave me the confidence to know that I could. And although I'm much better at it now than I was then, it was as though someone outside of myself believed in my dream too.
Well, so you were actually on those shows. You were on those shows and sang on those shows in front of everyone.
Yeah, in the first year. Yeah. Mm. So, wow, was that exciting and was that scary? Both, you know, excitement and scary are such similar emotions. But it gave me such a sense of, I can do this. I can really, really do it. And, you know, I'd really like that opportunity again now, so I'm going to manifest that. But it was fabulous. And, you know, from that, I had to just keep putting the energy in to make the dream, because there's no use sitting back and going, oh, well, you know, someone will discover me. You have to actually go out there, create the gigs, get the practice. I go round and I sing at 3 or 4 open mics where I don't get paid at all to sing. I sing at retirement villages. So you have to, if you want to be a singer, you can't be a singer and not have a gig. So you have to go out and get them.
So you
create it.
This is a way that you're networking and getting your name known across from many different areas. So you're having to have that focus. There's such a very strong focus, which seems to be so important to actually know what it is that you want to do, because your statement about that if you died without singing, you wouldn't feel alive anyway. So you had that complete conviction and knew that just about on every cell of your body from what I'm hearing. So you knew totally and completely what it was that you wanted to do. And that isn't always, that's not the same for everyone, Robyn, is it? And this is why I'd like the listeners, we've got somebody on the switchboard that I'm going to see if they'd like to speak with you, Robyn, and have something to communicate about this. I just won't be a moment. I'll just take this call.
Thank
Hello,
you.
are you here to be able to speak on the program today, Emotional Intelligence with Dr. Bev? Hello?
I think it might be me, Dr. Bev.
Oh, was that you, Annette? Oh, well, hello, how are you? I know you're in our chat room. You came up as a different unknown this time, so I didn't realise that was yourself. Isn't it wonderful that we have Robyn on the show today?
Indeed. Yes, I'm very excited about that, and I hope that people listening listen to Robyn's story and are inspired by it, like I am, to know that, yes, anything is possible when we have the passion, the dream, and the drive, and also the desire the courage to step out of our safety zone.
And I think that's a really, really big one, as Robyn was speaking about, her absolutely having that conviction and knowing that's what she wanted to do has certainly supported her being able to network that and having that forward thrust to keep going with that. But maybe a number of the viewers don't know what they want to do. A number of people often say to me, I know what I don't want, but I just don't seem to know what I do want. So what would you say, Robyn, to the listeners that, and there could be many listeners out there right now or listening to this later, that really don't know exactly what they do want? What steps would you suggest that they could go through to get to where they really want to be?
I think that what you have to do first is to create a space where there can be silence. So you have to perhaps not be as busy running around doing everything that you do, so that every day you have some special quiet time where you can reflect on who you are in the world and who you want to be. When you still the mind and you allow yourself to hear that still small voice of the universe, then what you're looking for will come to you in divine timing.
So they could practice that in a time before they go to sleep or early in the morning, or take some time out at lunchtime, even though they've got a really, really busy day. So it's quite a discipline then to be able to make that extra space. I know that a psychologist called Adam Fraser, Robyn, what he calls it is the third space, that there needs to be different spaces in our day that gives us this quiet time from one busy part of the day to the next. So this sounds something quite similar, but just being really having the discipline to set that time aside, or otherwise, if we don't make a decision to do that, all the day is just going to run into each other. And I found that when people really start off like this and decide, yes, I will put this time aside, often many, many things, people call, phones ring more than often, and they get disturbed. So they have to be more disciplined at saying, no, this is my time. I'm not going to be disturbed. I will take the phone off the hook. I will ask the family members not to disturb me right at this time. Has that been happened in your experience as a psychologist as well, Robyn?
Yes, Bev, and I think also it's the clutter in the mind. It's the chatter in the mind that can be even more of a distraction, and it takes practice to be able to still the mind and go within and really get in contact with your inner self. So, many people will start, say, with a guided meditation or something like that, but eventually you just need to be still and to just, when you get in touch with that inner core self, which is associated with the higher self, then the answers that you seek will come.
So you're not advocating necessarily about anyone doing a meditation or relaxation exercise, just to quieten the noise that's in their mind and just allow themselves to be, to sit somewhere that's quite relaxing for them. Do they need to close their eyes, or again just sit quietly?
I think it doesn't really matter whether people open or close their eyes. It's the fact that they create a sacred space where they can commune with their higher spirit.
And this is interesting from the perspective that if the noise of the day and people are actually wanting the noise, wanting to fill the day with activities, with something, filling it up, wanting to talk 24/7, listening to programs, watching, writing, and not allowing any space, there may be a hesitancy on their part not to remain silent because they may not want to feel different emotions. They may be being very busy, a bit like a workaholic or a cleanaholic or many different holics that we can have, to keep busy so that silence doesn't bring in those emotions. What would you suggest for people that might be a little bit concerned that a feeling might come in or a thought might come in that they don't really want?
I would just say just listen to the thought and then allow it to move on. If you try to fight thoughts, you won't be able to succeed in a meditation. Thoughts will always come and thoughts will always go. And it might be important for those thoughts, so just allow them to come in and allow them to go, and don't get fixated on them not being okay, because they are okay. So you might perhaps pose a question at one of these connected times where you say, what are the gifts that have been given to me? And how am I meant to use these gifts in the world? What is my purpose? And nearly all of us have a particular gift, something that we've been given that we're meant to use in this lifetime. And for me, I think that gift changed. I don't know if I had to work through, so many issues of my own before I could come to using my gift. But certainly, I worked very hard as a nurse and very hard as a naturopath and a psychologist. But every step along the way, I changed part of myself and I developed myself so that, in the early years I was such a victim to life. And, it's only been in my late 40s and 50s, really, that I felt the freedom of not being a victim to the many things that were happening around me. And, as a nurse working in an emergency department and then a psychiatric nurse working in triage, of course you're working in drama. And so that drama hook gets bigger and bigger when you're working in drama. So I had to learn how to let go and not need to have drama around me and not create drama where there wasn't any. So luckily I've been able to come to this place of peace and harmony. And of course it's not always there, but mostly it is, where I can listen to that still small voice and I can ask, what is it that I'm meant to be doing with the gift that I have? How can I serve humanity with the gift that I have, Bev?
So that's being able to give to another, to know and enjoy that's what in your singing and your beautiful voices, as people hear that, is your loving singing, but the tingling that can seem to happen when a particular note or a song is sung. It's like the audience on some of these shows, they can't help but have the tears run down their eyes. so the emotional chords, the senses that's actually striking and touching in people is an actual gift that is being given by someone who can sing so well. And when I heard what was said earlier, Robyn, about feeling that victim process in life, I find that when a lot of clients setting out and they really feel they're being very caring, but they're wanting to please people all the time. They're not wanting to disappoint. They're wanting to please. They're wanting approval. And they certainly don't want disapproval, so they're wanting to do everything right. They're wanting to please, and so their focus is so much on the other person and how they're going to feel if they believe that they haven't pleased that person or there's disapproving from that person. This gets a very exhausting place for many people to be in, and I see a lot of clients and have done over the years, Robyn, where they're in that place of their life is not just is pleasing, but doing it from not knowing what their dream is themselves. It's like they've even forgotten that they have any needs or dreams. Their whole focus is gone to be able to just please the other person, and they get very drained and exhausted and feel like they've got the whole world sitting on their shoulders. So if the listeners can relate to that, to be able to start not thinking about another person at all. It isn't about that. It is about being able to understand where another person's at, but not sell yourself or sell your dreams or your needs. To start knowing what those are, as Robyn has said, listeners, to create a quiet space, because for Robyn it's happened in her 40s and 50s, and it seems to be a time where there's a reassessment for most of us that hang about, what am I really doing? What is my purpose? So if it is and has been just to please another human being, and it hasn't been successful, because that other human being also has to be able to please themselves as well and know what their goals are without having to have the complete and total leaning and draining of another human being to do that. I enjoy reading and speak about it quite often, Robyn, is Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. Is that something you've been familiar with in your practice?
No, I don't. I haven't read her. Explain it to me.
Well, with Codependence No More, she shows how easy it is to be an independent person in the world, where one independent person meets another independent person. And I did actually speak about this last week on the show briefly, that when they join hands, you could think of as a figure H, like there's two sides of the H, two independent people, but once they hold hands, they've formed a figure H. But if that figure H goes to figure A, even though they're still holding hands, they've got locked into the apex at the top, which often then says, I'm only happy dependent upon the mood or thoughts or actions of another person. I think it's very difficult when we're relating to loved ones, or even in an office situation where a lot is dependent upon what the other may be contributing. But this is where it could be totally and completely that the other person is immobilized totally because of how they perceive the other person's emotions are affecting them. So that's quite I'm sure that you've had probably different connotations on the same thing, Robyn, in describing it.
Yes, certainly. And there are many times in life, I think, when you come in and out of being associated with being a codependent on someone else, or having someone codependent on you. And what's really good about being at this age is that you can recognise it more quickly, and you can transform that relationship more quickly. So I like to really focus on the positiveness of knowing that if you're having a difficulty in relationship, the moment you recognise it, you can change it. The moment that you recognise anything in life that you want, you can have it. Just need to be able to articulate it and to know it and to step into it and to believe it. And I think there's many examples in life where that, we go through those different phases of when our children are little and the great example of when your kids are little and you wish that they would get out of nappies, because life will be easier for you when they're out of nappies. And then you think, when they go to kinder and I get a few hours off, life will be easier then. It'll be easier when they can tell me what's wrong with them and what they want. And then it's going to be so much easier when they get to school. And before you know it, you've wished your life away. So it's really great when you can actually stop and be present, to be mindful and to be present about where you are and to actually enjoy the moment for everything that it has. And the codependency and the relationship, that's about the same thing. It's about being present and being who you want to be in that relationship and not being anything else. Regardless of what's happening around you, you stand in who you want to be. It's the same for all those phases that we go through in life. The best time of your life is when you learn how to just be who you want to be in a relationship. Not worry about what the other person's thinking or doing. Just being the best part of yourself, the most open-hearted, loving part of yourself that you can be.
You've been listening to another fabulous program on Angel Heart Radio. Our goal is to remind you of how much you matter in the world and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they, be used to replace your medical or legal advice.